So for props today, all I'm going to use is a towel and a pillow. So that's all I'm going to use today. Again, you can use as many props or as little props as you want. You can use multiple pillows, bolsters, blocks, yoga straps, towels, whatever feels right, blanket. But for today, all I'm going to use is this towel and also a pillow. So again, very accessible, very something that you could use at home. So what I'm going to start in is just a seated meditation today. Now for seated meditation, you can absolutely just start in whatever easy seat feels right to you. Your legs can be extended, they can be folded underneath you, wide leg, you can be up on a bolster, but find yourself moving to your seated meditation today. Getting a little taller through the crown of your head. Maybe softening or closing your eyes. Give yourself permission to notice your inhales and your exhales. Not trying to change your breath in this moment. Not trying to change your mind in this moment. Just existing and breathing right here on your mat. Can you start to deepen your inhales? And deepen your exhales. Maybe expanding your rib cage a little bit wider with this next inhale. And maybe exhaling to release that breath completely. Can you take a couple more breaths just like that? Starting to turn on maybe that full and complete breath, or just staying with your natural breath pattern. If you're going to be using that full and complete breath, again, inhale through your nose. Start to fill your lungs from bottom to top. And then as you exhale, empty out those lungs from top to bottom. And again, it all starts over. Inhale. Fill from bottom to top. And exhale. Release from top to bottom. Maybe starting to take these breaths in and out through your nasal passageways. The body's natural air filters. Increasing your body's capacity for air. With your next inhale, maybe start to get a little bit taller. And as you exhale, let your right ear drop down towards your right shoulder. Stretching through the neck today, maybe walking those fingers out to the side of your mat. Now in this next stretch, it's okay if you want to maybe take one arm on top of your head. Just a little gentle neck stretch. Again, if you're placing the arm on top of your head, make sure that you're not actually pulling on your neck. You're just allowing the weight of your arm to deepen the stretch. Also noticing in this stretch that you can kind of turn the chin slightly down or slightly up, and it changes where this stretch starts to happen in the left side of your neck. Just notice where you need to feel this stretch today. Bottom of your next exhale, slowly begin to bring your head back up to neutral, back up to center, maybe letting the left arm come back into your side. As you exhale, let the left ear drop down towards your left shoulder. Maybe start to walk the right fingertips out away. And again, maybe if you did on the other side, possibly placing the weight of your arm just on top of your head. Not pulling, but just letting that assist your stretch. One side might be a little different than the other. For all of us that have been working on computers from home, this is a really good stretch. We tend to hold a lot of tension in our neck and shoulders, and especially hunching over a computer, you can put strain on your neck. And again, also knowing when it's too much. You can always try a variation of a stretch, and if it just becomes too much, you can always go backwards a little bit and take off a little intensity. This is your time. So the whole point of this is to connect a little bit deeper with yourself and your breath, using these shapes to get there. Bottom of your next exhale, slower than you want, begin to let your head come back up to that neutral spine. Maybe just gently turning your head right and left and feeling a difference in the sides of your neck here. With your next inhale, slowly begin to get a little bit taller. And as you exhale, let your chin gently fall down towards your chest. Again, in this shape, you're not just allowing your torso to collapse, but you are actively trying to elongate the spine from the base of your sits bones and just allowing at the base of your neck your head to drop forward. Maybe feeling this stretch all the way down into your shoulder blades or lower. Notice what happens the longer you're in a stretch like this. Can you feel points in your body start to release? Can you feel tension growing in other spaces? Bottom of your next exhale, slowly begin to allow your chin to lift up. letting the crown of the head extend back up towards the ceiling. From here, take your hands behind your hips. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. Take your hands behind your hips, slowly beginning to lift through the heart and lift your chin up towards the ceiling. Now just a little variation here, opening through the heart, opening through the neck. You can always take this deeper by letting the head drop all the way down, maybe even coming down to your forearms and letting your head drop further back. Again, going into this shape as deep as will serve you today. Bottom of your next exhale, slowly allow yourself to come back up through neutral. Maybe you start to circle the head clockwise or counterclockwise. Noticing any places of tension. Bottom of that next exhale, slower than you want. Begin to extend your legs all the way out in front of you for seated forward fold. So those legs are going to be extended all the way out. You're going to lift yourself a little bit taller off of those sits bones, reaching through the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. As you go, get taller, and then exhale to fold forward over the top of your legs. Again, this forward fold, you're going to keep those feet pretty close. Again, just getting a little bit taller. You can always place a block between your knees and let your forehead come down to it. You can place a block on the bottom of your feet if your arms are a little bit on the longer side, or you can just gently soften over your legs. It doesn't have to be an active pose. It can just be breathing and releasing. You can also use this towel or a strap if you have it to pull yourself down if you do want a little bit more of an active variation. What spaces can you breathe into in this shape? Encouraging a deeper release. For these next few breaths, Can you send your mind immediately into this present moment and whatever you're experiencing, whatever sensations are coming up right here? Fully embrace them and be in that space. Bottom of your next exhale, slower than you want. Begin to roll up one vertebra at a time, slowly sitting tall on your mat. So from here, again, just taking a little counter pose, take those hands once again behind your hips and just lift your heart and look up. Again, if you have neck issues, you can just lift from the heart and even tuck the chin. That is also another option. Or if you need even more, you can press into those hands and heels and just inhale to lift the hips up. Bottom of your next exhale, slowly begin to allow yourself to come back to that neutral spine on your mat. Exhale to roll over your shins, crossing those ankles, finding your way to a tabletop shape on the mat. So from this tabletop shape, we're going to take a couple of gentle cat-cows. Bottom of that next exhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, lift your gaze. I'm already too relaxed. Exhale, tuck your chin, lift your belly, round your spine. Inhale, drop the belly, lift your chin, lift your gaze. Exhale, tuck the chin, lift the belly, round your spine. Again, inhale. Again, exhale. One more. Beautiful, guys. So from here, I'm going to move into an embryo variation to stretch, again, the back of your neck. My neck has been a little sore the past couple of days, so I'm focusing kind of on the neck and shoulders if you're just joining. So from here, I'm bringing my knees really close together, and my big toes are touching behind, sitting on my hips. I'm going to take the crown of my head, or the top of my head, and place it as close down on the mat so that my knees, my nose is as close to my knees as possible. From there, I'm going to reach back and grab onto my heels and lift through my spine to round through the spine and also release through the neck. So you're not dumping weight into your head, you are just placing it there and then lifting out of it. We're not going to hold this for very long, and again, if this is too much for you, you can always just go into a child's pose. That's totally fine. So again, hands come to the heels, the crown of my head is placed down. Inhale to lift up. Good for the shoulders, upper back, and neck. Bottom of your next exhale, slower than you want. Begin to let the hips come down first. Release the bind and gently come back up. Whew. Notice a difference with your breath. Again, you can turn the head right and left. releasing any tension that might have landed there in your neck and shoulders. So from here, begin to come back to this tabletop shape. I'm going to stretch out the shoulders a little bit more, compressing that right shoulder first. Open your knees a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Inhale to take your right arm up towards the ceiling, and then exhale to thread that right arm underneath your left, bringing the right shoulder down towards the mat. Now, again, in this shape, we're trying not to let the hips move around too much. You're trying to keep them maybe a bit on the square side, feeling that right shoulder gently compress into the mat. Maybe the left arm walks out in front of you if that feels nice. Or maybe that left arm comes to your low back. That's going to stretch the top of that left shoulder. And just breathe into this shape. Nice twist of the spine along with compression. Noticing the sensations that come up in your body today in this shape. Each day we come to the mat, it's a little bit different. So maybe a pose that's normally really easy for you becomes a little harder that day. Or maybe a pose that you felt was a little bit more difficult on another day suddenly is a little more easy for you to attain. Noticing these shifts in the body helps us connect a little bit deeper. So stay in tune and aware. Bottom of your next exhale, release that left arm if you've been binding it. Place the hand back underneath your shoulder. As you press into that hand, inhale the right arm back up towards the ceiling. Your gaze follows, maybe a little stretch there. And then exhale to take that right hand down to the mat. Inhale, open your left arm, lift it up towards the ceiling. Exhale, sweep the left arm underneath your right, bringing that left shoulder down to the mat. Again, switching sides here. One side might be different than the other. That's okay. The right arm again can walk out in front of you if that feels nice and stay right underneath your shoulder, or maybe bind if you did so on the other side. Again, if being on your knees is too much, too intense, you can always place a blanket under your knees or even another pillow for a little bit of extra cushion. You can also take this entire posture on your belly if on your knees is too much. Bottom of your next exhale, begin to release that right arm. Maybe place it underneath your right shoulder. Inhale, sweep that left arm all the way back up towards the ceiling, gaze follows. Exhale to plant that left hand underneath your shoulder. Whew. So from here, I'm going to exhale and take my hips up and back, finding my way to that downward facing dog, just for a breath or two, not for a long time. Just noticing that hamstring release, pressing those heels down, lifting through the tailbone, pressing down into the mat through those hands. You can pedal here if it feels nice. Bottom of my next exhale, I'm going to take my right shin forward towards the top of my mat, setting up for that half pigeon pose. So in half pigeon, again, we're ideally trying to get the front shin parallel with the top front of your mat, making an equal sign there. Now again, if that's not available to you today, don't worry. You can always let the shin come down a little bit, but we're trying to also square those hips. So wherever your shin is placed, square your hips and your shoulders towards the front of the mat. Exhale, maybe come down to your forearms if that feels right, even onto a blanket or a pillow, or maybe come all the way down to your chest if that's available to you. Also, if you're like me and have very bony knees, I'm going to actually put my pillow behind my back knee, because that's the one that after a while starts to feel very uncomfortable in this shape. Also shifting forward a little bit. So again, find your way into that shape. It doesn't have to be quick. And then exhale to soften all the way down. Again, if you haven't been as mobile at home, these hip stretches are very, very important to keep your joints mobile, to keep yourself healthy. We have to stay mobile, we have to stay healthy during this crisis. And so these are really good stretches to help create stronger blood flow in the body. A lot of these are restorative postures that are going to help build your immune system also. Just allowing the breath into your body actively is going to help build that strength in your respiratory system as well. So connect a little bit deeper with your next few inhales here and your next few exhales. Maybe softening into this shape just a little bit further. Another option in this shape is to go a little bit deeper. So for me, I might decide to bind with that towel my back foot, and as I fold forward into this stretch, allowing my left quad to also stretch. Again, all of these are just options. If this is too much, feel free to just come back to the original variation. bottom of your next exhale. If you have that bind, slowly release it first. Inhale to gently press those hands under your shoulders and lift yourself back up. Now from here, I'm going to take a little twist, just a little gentle twist. Begin to walk your hands maybe to the outside of that right hip, outside right edge of your mat. Just looking back at that foot. Twisting through the torso, pressing the left hip bone down. Inhale to gently walk it back towards center. Exhaling, I'm going to move through down dog to switch sides, but you don't have to. You can always just shift it around by sitting on your mat. If you're going to down dog, exhale to press into your hands, send your hips up and back. Again, always an option here if it feels right to you to kind of just shake out that right leg, maybe in a three-legged dog. And then exhale to let that right foot come down. Sending your left shin forward towards the top of the mat. Forward as much as your body will allow today. Lift through the heart on that inhale. And then exhale to slowly fold down to the degree that will serve you here today. Knowing that where you are in these shapes today is absolutely okay. And that one side, again, might be really different from the other. Come back to your breath. Tension likes to migrate in these shapes. You may start by feeling tension in one spot, and then the longer that we stay in this shape, that tension might start to shift or move. That's okay. Notice where the tension in your body begins to move, and see if you can follow it with your breath, breathing into those spaces to encourage that tension to release. Maybe again, if you bound on the other side, you use that towel or strap to bind the back foot, stretching through that right quad. I know my quads are a little sore from bar on Tuesday. These times that we're currently in are uncomfortable, but we have the tools within ourselves to overcome discomfort Even now, as you're in this pose for maybe longer than you wanted to be, you might be uncomfortable. But can you breathe into that discomfort and notice what happens? Does it change? Does it disappear? Again, bottom of that next exhale. Maybe slowly start to unbind that back foot if you did so. Maybe pressing up onto those arms. Lifting through the torso, maybe just lifting the chin. That feels nice. Or maybe walking your arms over to the left side of your mat, twisting towards that front shin, and maybe even looking back at the back foot. Bottom of your next exhale, slowly come back to neutral, back to center. Whew. Pardon my burp, so gross. Press into your hands, send those hips up and back one last time into that downward facing dog. Whew. Maybe pedaling out those feet if it feels nice to you today. Bottom of your next exhale, slower than you want. Come back to that tabletop shape. And then shift to one hip or the other, whichever hip feels best to you. Allowing the soles of your feet to come together here in this moment. Finding cobbler's pose. So again, the soles of your feet are together and those knees are opening out to the side. If your knees are up really high, you can always put blankets or pillows underneath them to support yourself a little bit more. Or again, if you need to get down a little bit further, you can always use a towel or strap wrapping it around those feet and using that leverage to go down deeper. So we worked the outside of the hips in compression, now a little internal inside of the hips. So lengthen through the spine first, and then as you exhale, begin to fold forward. Again, if you have a longer strap, you can even wrap the strap around your feet, take the long end around behind your back, and then hold on to that, pulling yourself down a little bit further using the strap as leverage. Again, it all depends today on if you want this to be more of a gentle practice for yourself, really easy and relaxed, or if you're working into some of these poses a little bit more deep. Again, just like in all the shapes that we've taken today, can you notice how this shape starts to change the longer that you're here? slower than you want. Begin to walk those hands maybe back towards your hips or your feet, gently stacking your spine one vertebra at a time. Ooh. Oh, feeling that head rush. Again, from here, slowly begin to swing those legs around. Maybe even taking your pillow, blanket, block, anything underneath your hips. Maybe allowing that pillow to just be there for once you get to Savasana. But our final posture is going to be just a gentle inversion, legs up the wall. So I'm going to plant my hips, allowing my legs to extend up as my back is on the mat. Now you can just stay here if this feels right, allowing yourself to just breathe and be, and allowing your blood flow from your feet to move back down into your liver and kidneys, cleansing the blood, moving through your body. Again, restorative and also immune supporting posture. So you can feel free to just stay here, or if you like a deeper version of this posture, such as shoulder stand or plow pose, you can totally move into that today. I'm just going to stay with the gentle variation today. Still breathing in and out, maybe through the nostrils. Bottom of your next exhale, maybe slowly begin to bend those knees, bringing your knees into your chest, maybe wrapping yourself into a little tight ball, wrapping your forearms around your shins, squeezing your knees towards your chest, towards your forehead, squeezing everything, your fingers, your toes, your face, everything as tight as you possibly can, and then exhaling, sigh it all out. Extending those legs out in front of you, letting your arms come down by your sides, palms lifted towards the ceiling, ready to receive all the benefits of your practice here today on the mat. Quiet mind and quiet body, Savasana. Bottom of your next exhale, slower than you want. Begin to make your way back into your physical body, letting sensations once again move up from the bottom of your feet all the way to the top of your head. Maybe take one last big stretch, inhaling those arms up and over your head, stretching fingers away from your toes. And then gently making your way up to that seated shape on your mat, allowing your hands to move to Heart Center or Anjali Mudra. Maybe taking a moment here, gratitude for yourself, for the time that you took out of your day for yourself and for connection. Or maybe sending out some of this energy that you created in your practice today as gratitude towards someone else in your life, or maybe to those people right now that are helping to save lives. Take one last inhale. And exhale to sigh the breath out through your mouth as you open your palms, releasing that gratitude out to whom may serve it. Creating space within yourself to receive metta, loving kindness, and also gratitude and kind. Thank you all so much for tuning in, taking time for yourself. The light in me honors and acknowledges the light within each and every one of you. Namaste.